So today we would like to talk about money market equilibrium. So money market is basically modeling the money supply and money demand in the economy, and it's a foundation to form the LM curve in the famous legendary ISFX LM model. So basically, we know that for any economic equilibrium, you would always have a supply side and a demand side. So in the money market, right? So on the horizontal axis, we would have the money balances in the economy. And then on the vertical axis, it's actually the interest rate. So we would actually model then how is the money responding to the interest rate. And we know that for money supply, it's pretty much fixed and set by the central banks. So therefore, for that certain period of time, the money supply would not change regardless of the interest rate. So therefore, the money supply is actually a vertical line, right? Because it doesn't change, it's just fixed at this amount. But money demand is actually going to respond to the interest rate because the interest rate reflects the opportunity cost of holding cash, right? Because if you hold cash, you're gonna miss out on the interest rate you can earn from buying bonds or whatever, right? So therefore, we know that the money demand, right? It should be a negative relationship with the interest rate, right? So in another one, we would also, so therefore, we know that it has to be some function, right, of interest rate. And we also know that the money demand that you would hold cash for, usually it's for, so this money demand, usually you have it to complete your financial transactions, right? So, and then we say that therefore it's gonna be positively or proportional to the nominal income transactions. So therefore, the nominal income, we know that it's basically the price level times the real income, right? And then we say that there's certain liquidity preference that actually will be applied to the nominal income you have. So therefore, given this nominal income you have, this is, there's certain rate that, let's say that you made $1,000 and then you prefer to hold 20% cash, right? So this is basically the weight or the weight, the liquidity preference that you would apply on your nominal income. And then we know that this liquidity preference is affected by the interest rate that was prevalent at that time, right? Because then it's actually a negative slope against the interest rate. So when the interest rate is higher, then you prefer less cash on your nominal income you have. So therefore, we know that it should be looking something like this for the demand curve. So this is the demand curve. So whenever given the nominal income, the higher the interest rate, the less preference you have to hold cash, right? And then sometimes we would actually write this to be like M D or P equals to L Y, right, later. And then that equilibrium is just means that this thing, right, actually, because we need equilibrium just means that the demand and supply actually overlap, right? So therefore you would have also M, S, and P, right? And if like, and also because we know that the variable, so the variable that's involved here also have the price level as well as the real income, right? So therefore the real income, because it actually doesn't show on any of the axes on this graph, and then so we know that whenever I changes, you move along this demand curve. But then what if the real income goes up or goes down, right? Which means that what if the economy expands or shrinks? And then in that case, you actually shift the entire demand curve, money demand curve, right or left. For example, when so therefore we mean that the price level and the real income actually shifts, right? Not like just move along the demand curve, but actually shift the entire demand curve, right? So therefore we put one scenario, right? When the real income actually increases, right? Say from Y1 to Y2, when the economy expands, then what happened, right? Then we say that originally the equilibrium is here, right? So this is actually I star 1, right? And but because now your just entire real income goes up, right? But then so therefore for the same same liquidity preference, right? You actually would because you would actually demand more because your income, right? Your real income just got more. So therefore, even for the same like preference weight, right? The same, say 20%. Originally, you earned 1,000, and then 20%, right? That's 100. But now you make like 2,000 with that same 20% preference, right? Liquidity preference. Like naturally, your money demand also doubles, right? So therefore your demand actually shift, the entire curve shifts right. So but then in that case, right, your money supply doesn't change for that period of time, and then there's a shortage, right, of money supply. So therefore the the central bank, or therefore, the interest rate would actually goes up to just incentivize people to hold less cash, right? So to demand less cash. So therefore, your interest rate is going to rise. And then now the new equilibrium interest rate in money market now goes up to L2 star, right? So if we model this process into a curve that would incorporate the real income as well, which is I, then it becomes the LM curve. So LM just means so that's the L. So we are gonna draw is the LM curve, right? So LM just means liquidity preference money market curve, right? And so we can see that now the horizontal axis is actually the real income, and then the vertical axis is interest rate. So originally, when we when we have the Y1 as the real income in the economy, then we have I1, right, the equilibrium interest rate. But when we, let's say that when we expand our real income into Y2 now, right? And then we have this new equilibrium money market interest rate that rose to out I2 level. So therefore, connecting this line, we have this relationship between the real income and the interest rate in the money market. So hopefully this explains clearly.